All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Aaron. I am the Brick Scavenger, and I decided it would be fun to create a series of tutorial videos on using Lego's Bricklink website. I've made a few of these tutorial videos already, but today's video we're going to go backwards and we're going to do kind of an introduction to Bricklink. I realize that a lot of you are familiar with Bricklink, and this may not be a useful video, but if this is your first time on Bricklink or you're wondering what it is and how to use it, maybe this video will be helpful. So there's three reasons why I sort of anticipate that you might want to use Lego's Bricklink website. That would be if you want to buy Lego, if you want to sell Lego, or if you want to do some kind of inventory or information gathering about Lego. So let's go to the Bricklink website and talk a little bit. So it is bricklink.com is the website, and that will bring you up to a page that may look something like this. The splash page can look different depending on the day of the week and kind of what Bricklink is displaying. But here's what you need to know about Bricklink. A lot of people think that Bricklink is a store, and that is really a poor way to think about Bricklink because it's going to set you up to fail from the very beginning. So let's talk from a buyer's perspective. The way I want you to think about Bricklink is that Bricklink is a website which connects potential buyers to potential sellers. Bricklink itself is not a store, okay? So let's imagine that you wanted to buy three things, okay, for Lego. Let's say you wanted to buy a Star Wars Greedo minifigure. You wanted to buy a Harry Potter polybag set. We'll go with the 30651 Quidditch practice. And let's just say that you've got a project where you need a whole bunch of gray bricks to build, and you wanted to buy those three things, okay? If you went to eBay to try to buy the Greedo minifigure, the Quidditch practice polybag, and some gray brick, you could probably find all three of those things on eBay. The problem is you're not going to likely find all three of those things being offered from the same seller, right? Because eBay is a place that connects you, the buyer, to a whole bunch of different sellers, and one seller may not have everything that you need. And that's the way you need to think of Bricklink. Okay, Bricklink is going to connect you to a whole bunch of different sellers, but that doesn't mean that every seller is going to have everything that you need. Okay, so here's Bricklink. All right, you can just click on things and learn a lot about Bricklink by clicking on sets. You can click on parts. You can click on minifigures. We'll get into mocks in a different video, but sets, parts, and minifigures are sort of the key components to Bricklink. But let's suppose you're here and you've got intentions on buying a Greedo minifigure. Okay, so I'm going to go up into the search bar and I'm going to type in Greedo. Okay, and I'm going to click search. And what you're going to find is Bricklink will produce you something like this. Now, this is already a little bit confusing, but if you follow along and you learn the system, this is a really powerful website, and I think you're going to like it, but you're going to have to be patient and learn. First of all, the first tab that you're in here is an overview, and you'll see that there are 16 items within the Bricklink inventory system that match the word Greedo. You can see there are some arms, a torso without arms, a pair of arms, another torso, two different heads. Here is a torso, another torso, another torso, and we haven't even gotten to, turns out there's three different Greedo minifigures. So right away, you're going to need to clarify which Greedo do you want, okay? But what I do want to point out here is at the top, you can also break the overview down into different tabs. So we're looking for a minifigure. If I click on the minifigure tab, now I'm down to three options, okay? These three Greedos are three different versions of him. They might have a little bit of a different print, a little bit of different head, whatever, okay? But let's just suppose for simplicity that you are going to choose the first one, okay? I'm going to click on the word Greedo here, and that is going to pull up information about Greedo. Okay, this is wonderful information gathering opportunity here. You can see that this Greedo was released in 2004. He has a certain weight, which we can get into if we do a tutorial video on selling. For now, that doesn't matter that much. You can see that within Greedo, he has 3 parts, okay? And you can click on this. This is a link, but I can tell you that the 3 parts are a head, a torso, and legs, okay? This particular Greedo, released in 2004, appeared in 2 different sets. If you want to know what sets he appeared in, you can click on those, okay? Now, there are 3 tabs down here which are going to prove useful to you as a potential buyer, okay? First of all, I'm going to talk quickly about the price guide. There are 4 different columns of numbers which can appear to be a little overwhelming. But let's start with the last 6-month sales average, okay? Greedo has sold brand new on the Bricklink website 16 times in the last 6 months for an average price of roughly $96. Okay, now we have picked an example of Greedo that is an expensive and rare version of Greedo and also a 20-year-old one. But you can see brand new condition, he is very expensive. Now, if you're willing to take him used, on average, he is closer to $60, a little bit better. We'll worry about these columns over here at another time. But here's what I want to point out. If you change the tab from price guide to inventory, you are going to see a list of all the potential sellers who have a Greedo for sale. You can see that on the left side, we've got a lot of Greedos pictured. This is not a picture of the actual minifigure that a store has for sale. This is the stock photo, okay? So one of the issues that Bricklink has is that you, generally speaking, are not going to see a picture of the exact item that you will purchase, okay? Now, a couple of things to note here. Over here, you're going to see the price within the seller. So this Star Wars seller right here has Greedo. You'll notice that these are organized as lowest price. So this Star Wars seller has Greedo for the cheapest in the entire world on Bricklink at $34. Okay, now you do need to be a little bit careful because the description over here is going to teach you more. And often with minifigures, the cheapest ones are going to be damaged in some way. So you can see that Star Wars seller here has the Greedo, but it has cracks on both arms. And these arms are extremely rare. So if you can't handle cracks, this is not a good option for you. Okay? If you immediately reject that one, we can go on to this seller in Germany who has it for $38, Bricklink, right? But you're going to have another problem here. This one also has cracks. Okay? So that is why the Greedos on average were a lot higher, because the people who sell them undamaged are going to have them for much more expensive. The other thing I'll note here is I'm in the United States. If you're watching this tutorial as a potential seller in the United States, you need to watch for international shipping charges, which can be very expensive. Similarly, if you are a buyer not in the United States and you're considering buying from the United States, again, international shipping can be very expensive. If you want to narrow down who you are buying from based on country of origin, there is a way to do that. So under more options here, I can click on more options and you'll see now, because I'm registered in the United States, it defaults to that, but I can choose several different countries here. But if I click on that circle, now I can hit search and it is going to now show me only sellers that have this Greedo in the United States. Now, I would like to point out 34, 42, 50, 50, 50, but watch this. Cracked, worn, nicks, cracks, cracks. The first one that claims to be in used good condition is from Brick Source at $50, okay? So that is one way that you can now find a minifigure for sale on Bricklink. Let's say, for example, that you're gonna insist it's on good condition and we're going to go to Brick Source. So what I need to do now is I'm on Bricklink's overall page. I am not in Brick Source's store. So I'm going to click on Brick Source here. And now it's going to take me to a new page where I am now within Brick Source's store. Okay, so now if I insist on buying the Greedo, the Harry Potter Quidditch set, and the gray brick all from the same seller, I need to now find out if this Brick Source has those other items. So if I wanted to buy this Greedo, I can add him to the cart by changing the quantity to 1, and I can add it to the cart. Okay, so now my cart is got one thing in it and the total is 50 bucks. Okay, so now I can actually browse some other items that Brick Source has in his store. Okay, you can see that this is broken down into various sets, it's various parts, and various minifigures. Okay, and as long as I stay within Brick Source's store, anything that he has in his store that I add to my cart can be included in the same shipping charge. Let's just find out if Brick Source has the Harry Potter Quidditch Practice Polybag. So we're going to go 30651 into the search bar right here, and I'm going to hit search. Nope. So he does not have the Quidditch Practice Polybag. So that tells me already that I'm going to have to pay shipping charges at least a second time, because if I'm going to insist on buying Greedo from Brick Source, I'm going to have to go find the polybag somewhere else. But let's see, I'm going to delete this and then kind of reset Brick Source's website. Let's see under parts if he has any gray brick. So you can see if I scroll down here, I can go to brick, and he has 269 different types of bricks. So if I click on brick, I can now see that he has got a whole bunch of 1x1 brick. And this is only page 1 of 11. I can go to page 2 and I can see all of this. Okay. And so now I would be searching for gray brick. There's some light bluish gray brick. He has 75 of them at 10 cents per unit. So I could go in and add some of those. Let's say I wanted 10 of those. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go up to add to cart. And now you'll see I have 11 items in there, 10 bricks and 1 minifigure. And my total right now is 5101. Okay, so I can go through this and I can see what else he has for sale, right? Maybe he's got another minifigure I want. Here's a castle minifigure. Here's a Shieldsmith minifigure that's kind of fun, right? You can go down a serious rabbit hole adding things to your cart. Now, depending on the seller, they're going to charge you different shipping charges, right? So in some cases, some sellers will charge you a flat $5 for shipping. In some cases, they might charge you per weight, and the heavier your cart ultimately gets, the more you'll pay for shipping. Some stores will say, hey, if you have a certain spending threshold and you go over that, we'll ship for free. Every store does things a little bit differently. Okay, but let's just see where we're at with Brick Source right now on shipping. So I'm going to go up to my cart, and I'm going to view my cart. And you can see right now that to ship Greedo and 10 1x2 bricks, Brick Source is going to charge $8 for shipping. So right now we're at $59. Tax has not yet been included. Okay, I'm not going to buy this. This was just an example. But let's go back to Bricklink. Okay, so now I'm going to exit Brick Source's store, and I'm going to go back to the sort of mother Bricklink store, which again is not a store. It is a place to connect you, the buyer, to other sellers. Okay, now instead of Greedo, let's try seeding our search with the Harry Potter Quidditch Practice. I'm going to hit search now, and here is the Quidditch polybag right here. Okay, you can click on sets. You could just buy the instructions if you really wanted to, but really we're talking about a set here. So I'm going to click on that, and now I can find all of the sellers on the Bricklink website that has the Quidditch Practice for sale. You can see there's actually 488 different sellers that have this Quidditch practice set for sale. Now that would include worldwide. So again, I'm going to actually change the search a little bit, because let's say I'm having a birthday party for my kids and I want to use this poly bag as a party favor. And so I need, let's say, 10 of them. And I have to have them quick, so they've got to come from the United States. I'm going to click on more options. I'm going to say it's got to be from the United States. And up here I can go minimum quantity. So I'm going to change that to 10. So now when I hit search, I should only find US sellers that have at least 10 of these. So here I am. And now you can see we're down to 20 different sellers. All right, here they are. The cheapest one, again, we're sorted by lowest price, is Turtle Bricks. He has, or she has, 15 of these for sale, and they are $3.17 each. Okay, now I don't know what Turtle Bricks will charge for shipping for 10 of these things. Let's say, for example, that I was like, hey, I'd actually be willing to buy more of these. I would rather sort these by quantity. I can click here and I can say, let's sort by highest quantity. If I do that, now I can see that Bommy Bricks has the most in the United States available at 179 of these. But now notice that these Bommy Bricks wants $9.34 per unit for these. Okay, obviously a very large amount of money compared to these other sellers. Minifigures has just a handful less and is charging slightly less than $4 per. Okay, so you can be paying attention to both quantity and price as you are searching through this website. But let's go now to Minifigures, because I like the price much better and I wanted 10 of these. Okay, so now, looks like Minifigures is having a sale. That might be why they're cheaper. Okay, doesn't look like those are specifically on sale. Usually there would be a little percent off thing right here, but let's add 10 of these to my cart. All right. And now let's see any chance that Minifigures has Greedo. I'm going to go up here to the search bar and type in Greedo. Nope, he does not have the Greedo minifigure, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. Now let's say that I want to know if he has any of the bricks. Well, I'm down in parts already, and you can see that he only has minifigure stuff. So he will definitely not have the gray bricks. Okay, so you can see immediately based on the first two examples that I've given you here that Bricklink can be a little bit frustrating if you are going into it with a specific shopping list, because often you are not going to be able to find a seller that has everything that you need. And that's just a part of the deal. You may have to make purchases from multiple stores and pay multiple shipping charges to get all the stuff that you want. Now, the bigger stores are going to have a bigger variety. So let's go back again to the Bricklink overarching page, and let's do again 30651 and look at this Quidditch set. Again, I'm going to go more options, US, minimum 10, but I'm going to let it search by lowest price. Okay. Now, it is not a hard, fast rule, but if you look at the parentheses here, the parentheses refer to how many feedbacks, positive, negative, or neutral, that a seller has. Okay. So what you're going to see here, Turtle Bricks has 1,762 feedbacks. That means that Turtle Bricks has been selling on Bricklink likely for a long time and probably has a pretty big inventory. If we scroll down, oh, look at this. This is my friend. Mrs. Salis is actually my friend here. So this is not meant to be an insult at Mrs. Salis. Mrs. Salis is a wonderful seller, also on Whatnot. But you'll see that Mrs. Salis has 79 feedbacks. That likely indicates that Mrs. Salis is one of two things. Either a newer seller on the platform and just simply has not built up a ton of feedback yet, or has a smaller store and therefore has less inventory. Okay? Meanwhile, down below Mrs. Salis is Corona Bricks that has 3,000. Okay? So let's use Mrs. Salis and Corona Bricks as an example of size. This is not meant to promote Mrs. Salis, but hey, let's check it out. Okay, so if I go here, Mrs. Salas actually has a lot of lots in her store. Okay, 3,300 lots. Now, there are 63 sets that Salas has, 2,972 parts right here, lots of different parts, and 320 minifigures. So Mrs. Salas' store is actually bigger than I was expecting based on the feedback. That likely tells me that Mrs. Salas is just new to Bricklink and is getting orders rather quickly, but just hasn't been around long enough to get 1,000 feedbacks yet. And you can see over here that indeed that's true. Mrs. Salas has had 166 orders, which on the grand scheme of things is still relatively new. Okay. Meanwhile, I would bet that if we go to the Corona Brick Shop, who has 3,000 feedbacks, they have 7,000 lots for sale and have filled 4,783 orders. That would indicate that the Corona Bricks has been around for a long time. Now, being around a long time doesn't necessarily make you a better seller, but it may be an overall indication of how big the store is, right? Obviously, if you have a big store with lots of selection, you're going to make a lot more sales. So the chances that Corona Brick has a lot of stuff that I may be looking for is fairly high because they have filled so many orders and have so many lots. Okay, so as you are browsing around, you may want to consider the fact that first, Bricklink is not a store. It is a place to connect you to a whole different group of stores based on what you are looking for. Okay, then once you are within that store, you can then start browsing around and see if that particular seller has a bunch of things that you might want, so that you can kind of pay one shipping charge for a whole bunch of stuff. It can be a little painful to buy a $4 poly bag. Let's go to Minifigures and just see, as an example, if I change this quantity to 1 and I update the cart, you can see that the one $4 poly bag here is going to cost me $7.50 shipping. That is set by Minifigures. That is not set by Bricklink. So you may be able to find a seller that does shipping for cheaper. I make no promises. This is not a video meant to judge any particular store, but just teach you as a potential buyer in general how this works. Okay. And again, so for this $4 poly bag, we're already up to $11.46. We haven't included tax yet. But that's not all that different, right, from what you're going to see on eBay, where this Quidditch poly bag may be $4, and then you're going to have a shipping charge on top of that. Okay? Bricklink is a wonderfully powerful website to help you gather information, to connect you with potential sellers, and eventually be a place where you can sell as well. I'm not going to get too much into the selling part of it yet, because this is in sort of introduction to Bricklink video. And I figure once you're comfortable with Bricklink, we can talk selling at a different time. This video is carried on a little longer than I was expecting to carry on. I may be just blabbering way too much, but I wanted to give you the general idea of how Bricklink works. Many, many more videos to come. I'm kind of hoping to turn Tuesdays into Bricklink Tutorial Tuesdays. Okay, so if you are interested in more Bricklink tutorials, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. It'll help this channel and this video grow. And with that, this long introduction to Bricklink video is done. So thank you guys for choosing to spend a little bit of your day with me. My name is Aaron. I am the Brick Scavenger. We'll see you next time on the Brick Scavenger channel.